Oh, gang, are you sick of politicians knowing a major change that's going to happen in policy that will affect the stock market and then being able to buy stocks before you can based off that knowledge? Are you sick of them making decisions based on things that will affect their stock portfolio? I am. So is my senator, Gary Peters. Here he is announcing something that AC caught before me. Gang, that's how on top of things the anti-corporatist is. If you're not checking out his channel and you enjoy scenic views of America while somebody chats about life and all things, including politics, go check it out. Because AC was on this. Here's Gary Peters talking about introducing a stock trading ban. Oh, mercy.
Making decisions that are in the best interest of the American public and are not in the interest of any personal finances and financial decisions that they make. Mm-hmm. So I'm pleased to announce today that we're going to be taking what I believe is a historic step forward on legislation that will ban members of Congress from trading stocks. Senators Merkley, Hawley, Ossoff, and I have come to a bipartisan agreement on legislation. And as chairman of the Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, I will be putting this legislation on our committee's next markup later this month, which right now is scheduled for July 24th. This will be the first time that a Senate committee is considering legislation to bar members from trading stocks. This bipartisan agreement is...
Wait a minute. I'm glad he brought that up specifically. It's the first time. 2024, gang. First time this is being brought up. And you remember earlier when I was talking to MAGA folks, if you're watching the recording, go check out the live stream and then give me money from your wallet. But earlier, when I was talking about what we have in common, or rather, I was talking about the fact that some MAGA folks have things in common with us. This is one of those things. When you are on the fringes of your party, whether you're there for good reasons or bad, the fact is you're not part of the groups that get money from these monsters. They're not interested in funding the fringes for the most part. For the most part. They're interested in keeping their power. And only that. Which means it's entirely possible for us to get bipartisan support to fuck over the rich. Joe Biden, I say again, like with the segment we just did, I say again, if he keeps doubling, tripling down on the idea that he's going to tax billionaires more to pay for stuff you and I get to use, baby, he's got this.
Is built off of Senator Merkley's Ethics Act, and it includes key provisions that will prohibit bad actors from being able to take advantage of their positions for personal financial gain. These provisions include barring members of Congress, the President, and Vice President from buying and selling a range of stocks and financial assets, including securities, commodities, futures, options, trust, and other comparable holdings. We also will require federal elected officials, their spouses, and dependent children to divest of any of the banned assets beginning in 2027.
Oh, hell yeah.
It will also increase the fines for violations of the Stock Act to $500 each violation. And it will also, for the divestment of assets, any members who do not divest assets will also have penalties associated with that.
$500 is nothing to somebody who just made $1 million illegally trading stocks. That's a nonsensical fine. The fine must be. I mean, look, criticizing a gift here. Not a gift, actually. This is what this guy literally is employed to do. But just to be clear, a $500 fine is nothing. Now that said, it's not nothing because it's better than nothing. At least it's an acknowledgement. But the main thing is it makes it illegal. It makes you're not allowed anymore to trade stocks when you can affect the stock market. That is just common sense. Whereas our good friend Foxy would say it's uncommon sense, apparently. I don't like that they have until 2027. You need 3 years to sell your stocks. Get them out of here. But these calculations are not made, like the policy itself was made to please me and you. The other calculations are made to have less bandits fighting it, basically. All right, back to it.
I'm certainly grateful to Senators Merkley, Hawley, and Ossoff for their leadership on this issue and for working with me on this common sense bipartisan agreement that strengthens accountability for the public and gives Americans the peace of mind that Congress is always working on their behalf. And I'm committed to passing this bill through my committee with the help of two of my colleagues here, Senators Hawley and Ossoff, who are members of the Homeland Security Committee, and we look forward to moving it out of committee and making it one step closer to becoming law. And by taking this historic action, I hope we help to build Americans' trust in government and give them full assurance that the men and women who serve here are always taking their interest first and foremost.
Howley's a bit of a surprise on its surface. He looks like one of the dudes that would have been Brooks Brothers riot type. But it's not that much of a surprise when you look at the insanity of his constituency, because those are the type of people whose insanity is occasionally useful. They're passionate. They don't understand basically anything about how the government works, but they do get a few things. That basically anything is important. They do get that politicians take bribes from rich people, and as a result, we suffer. So it makes sense that they would be pressured, that Howley would look at that and think, oh, this will please my constituents. Being part of this will be good. It also tells me, hold on to your butts, because this isn't going to be good news. It also tells me he's made the calculation that he does not think it will pass. He doesn't think it has a chance in hell. But you know what? All of us could have made that calculation. We didn't need the polling. We didn't need conversations with senators. All of them are currently taking bribes. And all of them are currently participating in a system where you get to be rich if you are in leadership. Look at what happens to these folks. Look at their bank accounts before and after taking public office, and it will depress you immensely. Most of them get rich by doing this exact thing. They're not going to want to stop it. That said, do recall that I said here is an opportunity. This campaign season is an opportunity to turn people progressive, to turn politicians into progressive politicians. I don't care what's in their heart. I care that they're nervous about getting elected. So, here's a link in the description. We're going to talk about this again at the end. But if you want to increase the odds that something like that either this passes or something like it passes in the future, contact your politicians. Tell them that you want them supporting this legislation.
I'd like now to turn over the podium to Senator Merkley.
All right, Merkley, let's see what you got.
Chair Peters, thank you so much for your leadership in bringing us to this point. We've been a long time getting there. It's some 12 years now since Senator Brown and I introduced an amendment and had a vote on an amendment to ban stock trading back in 2012. That amendment did not pass, and we've been working to take on this challenge ever since. And my colleagues, Senator Hawley and Senator Ossoff, have both been significant contributors to this conversation, dwelling in the minutia of various bills, trying to resolve the factors to find a path forward to take on this egregious practice. And when I say it's egregious, let me just say it's corrupt in two significant ways. The first is we must be here to serve the public, not our portfolios. And Americans are well aware that time after time, the portfolios of members of Congress do better than the S&P 500. There's even investment funds that mimic the investments of members of Congress because of this phenomenon. So people are aware that senators and House members are benefiting from privileged information they may get a little earlier than the rest of the world, and they do not like this. But even more importantly is the conflict of interest. The idea that you own a portfolio that concentrates in fossil fuels or renewable energy or bank stocks or pharmaceuticals, and you are writing legislation, preparing amendments, or voting on bills that affect those investments. Again, we must be here to serve the public, not our portfolio.
All right, Oregon. All right. Good job. Way to send us Merkley. Thank you. And he got no credit for from my guy there. He should have for introducing it as an amendment earlier on in 2012. Good on you. Thank you, Oregon. We need more of this. Thank you for saying whatever it is you said to Merkley. If you said anything to get him to try this again, to get him on to continually push for this, or if he was just on board from the get-go, thank you for electing the man. I guess and/or. Regardless, the words coming out of his mouth right now make me happy, and that's because Oregonians have kicked some butt in getting him there. Well done.
And the American people agree. In a poll last year by the University of Maryland, a national poll, more than 85% of Democrats, more than 85% of Republicans agreed that we should ban stock trading.
Oregon trailers.
When do you get nearly 9 out of 10 members of both parties to agree that something should happen? That's how deeply Americans understand that this practice needs to come to an end. But the practice is still rampant. Members of Congress made 11,500 plus trades last year. They traded about $1 billion worth in stock. So it is very present, and we've had scandal over scandal during the 12 years that we've been working on this issue. You know, at this time, when we're concerned about the integrity of our institutions, and many of us are talking about reforms that should happen in other branches, including the Supreme Court, let us think about the reforms that need to happen right here at home. We should set the example. We need to end stock trading, and we need to do it this Congress. Thank you. And now I'm pleased to introduce Senator Hawley, who, as I mentioned, has got into the details, has prepared his own legislation in the past, and has come together on this unified approach to get a bill through committee and prepare it for the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Well, thanks to all of my colleagues. Thanks to Senator Merkley for his long leadership on this. Thanks to Senator Ossoff, who I've worked with on this in the past. But I particularly want to thank.
Because it's bipartisan, I'm only going to make fun of him a little bit. I will be watching for if somebody accidentally drops something and there's like a loud clatter to see if he sprints off in terror, leaving a trail of urine for the aides to be able to track him and bring him back to the podium. Okay, sorry about that.
Senator Peters, because Senator Peters has had the unfortunate task of dealing with me for the last 10 months on this issue.
It is an unfortunate
And really,
task.
I want to thank Gary for working, in some cases, literally around the clock to reach an agreement on this that will be tough, that will close the loopholes, that will close the avenues of avoidance, that will impose real penalties. The truth is, Congress should not be here to make a buck. Congress should be here to serve the American people. There is no reason why members of Congress ought to be profiting off of the information that only they get. that the rest of the American people don't get. And I don't care, even if you don't have so-called insider information or information not available to the public, why should members of Congress be spending their time day trading rather than focusing on the priorities that the American people sent us?
Fine points. All fine points. I don't want to do any more campaigning for Howley. That guy and everything but this. Want to say, AC voted for Merkley. AC, thank you. Thank you very much. This is a little Kitsmit. Now, is the real question, did I set it up correctly? I did. A stock trading ban. Lord. I mean, overdue for a do-over on how we allow our politicians to behave, but at least it's happening. This is great news, gang, and I look forward to seeing it fail, and then us calling out the people that didn't vote for it. Here's a great idea. Keep track of it, and what you can do, write your senator. Write everybody who represents you and tell them you insist upon their vote in the affirmative for this stock trading ban. You insist upon it. Link is in the description. Contact your representatives. Start with your senators. Wouldn't hurt to have your Congress people on board as well so that it passes both houses quickly. Tell them both. Your job is dependent upon a yes vote for this. I will not, it doesn't matter if you're telling the truth or not at this point. Tell them I will not vote for somebody who takes bribes. If you don't believe in this, then we don't have the same beliefs about who should be in office. And that's going to be a problem. Here's how you can say it perhaps a little bit better, because we are also dealing with traitors. If you don't believe in this, then we don't hold the same beliefs about who should be in office. If you don't vote for this, I will seriously have to reconsider whether or not I will support you. Write your senators. Write your members of the House of Representatives. Use the link in the description to find who they are. It's very easy to email them. Let them know how you feel. That is how we get this stuff done. As the campaign season is here, this is the best time to do it. It really, truly isn't even about it getting passed this time. It's about getting your people to say they support it. Because if later they feel like they don't want to support it, they're going to have to deal with the fact that earlier they said they did support it. You want to get them on the record in front of cameras, ideally, saying, yes, I support this. Now, if you want to increase that pressure, write your Congress people first. Write your representatives first. Write your senators first. Then, write the local news stations that have interviewed them. Make them write stories about this. Make them go to your representatives and get a quote. How are you planning on voting on this? If you show your local news station that you have interest in this topic, and by the way, if you can get them to do a story on it, send me the clip and we'll do a story on that. If you can get them asking, that will light a fire under the butts of people who need that fire lit. That is what you can do. Great suggestion, AC.